Okay, so let's start. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. I don't know from where you are connected to our webinar. Today we are going to cover the piece of software which is designed for the developers, and this is something not ready to use like our client application, but something which could really help you to build your own application with video conferencing inside. So we could help you to build new solutions, video-enabled communications and messaging-enabled solutions with the help of our libraries. We had a similar webinar recently, maybe a few months ago, when we showcased to you the libraries for Android Studio. And today we're going to present you the next part in this series for developers with the new webinar about the libraries for Windows operating system applications. Today we are going to cover the new library we have released, which is designed for Visual Studio. The technology we're using for this is called MAUI. It is based on .NET technology, and we invited today my colleague Andrew, the head of the development of TrueConf and SDK solutions, and Andrew will assist me with the demonstrations for today's webinars. But before we proceed with the demos, let me briefly tell you what we have in the new SDK. Andrew, hello. Hello. Your microphone, you have to change your microphone. It's probably the wrong microphone. I will start, and after a while, Andrew will assist me with some demos to show you in real life how easy it is to create a new application based on our MAUI SDK. So let's start. If you have a question, feel free to ask them in chat. Andrew, could you please mute your microphone? Yeah, because it creates some distortion. Thank you. So MAUI SDK, it is something which could help you to integrate, this is important, to integrate video conferencing inside your existing application. It is not a ready-to-use application. It is not a ready-to-use solution. It is just a library which could power your application, desktop application, with video conferencing and messaging capabilities. It is very easy to do, but it requires some knowledge. It requires some settings for your development environment. It is not so easy to implement it right away. You have to be, you need some experience. You have to be a developer to integrate it successfully. However, it is quite simple. And the best thing about our SDK is that it connects to your server, to your on-premises installation. It doesn't require any kind of cloud connectivity. It is totally autonomous. So we can enable video conferencing applications and messaging applications which are not connected to the cloud in any way. They are fully autonomous. We have a special term for that on premises. And those applications will rely on your own infrastructure. In this case, for this particular library, we rely on the capabilities of TrueConf server. So basically, VideoSDK allows you to create your own native application, which use our protocol, which use our features and capabilities, which could be another application for TrueConf server. As you might know, we already have a native application, client application for all major platforms, mobiles, desktops, for room solutions. But in some cases, that's not enough. And you need to implement video conferencing capabilities in another industrial application, client support, remote support application, some other solutions for telemedicine, which is quite typical. So this library is quite often used for telemedicine projects and banking. And such spheres where the privacy and the security of communications are crucial and really important. And today, there are not so many SDKs which allows you to build your own video conferencing applications which are not connected to the cloud. And with this library, with these demos, I hope you will have some new knowledge how to do this. So first of all, the main features, let me tell you, of this library. So basically, it has the foundation inside, very similar foundation to our existing desktop applications. And principles which are used to build this SDK is very similar. We have to select the server we'd like to connect to. We need to authenticate. This is important. So the SDK is secure because it supports all kinds of authentications, methods, and procedures which are available in TrueConf server. That means if you'd like for your SDK application to be authenticated using Active Directory or single sign-on, it is supported. So we can make sure that the application is used only by authenticated employees and not by someone else. We can use SDK not just for video conferencing. We can use the library to access another important parts of TrueConf infrastructure. For example, we can access the contact list. We can see the statuses. We can see profiles of users. This is useful because we can check, for example, if the operator is available to receive a call from the customer, for example, or we can see the availability for the list of users or group of users. We can see, is it possible to transfer the call from the user to another specialist based on his status, for example. It is also important to notice that SDK fully supports all kinds of interactions with USB devices and peripherals. We do support a lot of USB libraries. They have a special name like USB heat protocol. For example, if you mute your microphone, the application can read the status and follow some specific behavior from that button. Some peripherals could have special buttons like pick up a call or hang up, and we can use them. For example, we can create a SDK solution which will automatically call someone if the call button will be pressed on the speakerphone. So thank you for USB head protocol integration, which is also part of this SDK. The wide range of equipment is fully supported. You could be absolutely safe connecting any types of USB peripherals to the computer with our SDK application. All set of peripheral devices supported by TrueConf applications are fully supported by SDK as well. Thank you for the same foundation, same libraries inside. We can also access the itinerary, the list of ongoing conferences or incoming conferences which we expect to happen for this particular user, which is authenticated in SDK application. So not just the list of contacts, but the list of conferences. So the calendar is also available. And of course, similar to the Android SDK we showed you before, it is also possible to customize. So you can change buttons, you can create your own buttons, UI elements outside and inside SDK to make this video conferencing experience customized, which flavors your goals, your identity of your company, and the design of the application where the SDK is included, where it is integrated to. The next set of features of SDK is connected with communications. So we cover that we have access to the contacts, we have access to the conferences, we have access to the peripherals. And of course, we can connect SDK to any installation of TrueConf server, but after that, we need to manage conferences. And for that, we also have a very nice support for a lot of additional features. For example, during the conference or even outside of the conference, we can access messages. So SDK library could be used to read messages for the user, which is authenticated for that SDK. We can send messages. It could be files, not just messages. It could be personal chats, it could be group chats, it could be channels. So all kinds of interactions with the messaging platform on TrueConf server is fully supported. When we move forward to the real-time communications, we fully support point-to-point calls. Point-to-point calls are quite different from group conferences. Point-to-point calls usually happens directly. They usually do not involve the server in terms that we do not send media streams to the server. Media streams usually travels directly between the participants of the point-to-point call. And that's important. So signaling goes through the server, but heavy traffic goes directly. For example, we can use the server located in some remote location, but the video calls could happen inside your local network without affecting the performance of the network channels between the SDK application and the server. And of course, for multi-point conferences, the video streams go through the server and the multi-point conferences are fully supported. But that's not enough. And SDK allows you to automatically manage layouts, the size of the window, automatically manage the bitrate, and that's the most important part. So using SDK, you don't have to care about the video quality, resolution, frame rate, type of the content. The SDK use the same technologies we have for TrueConf application. So that means that if your SDK application is small, it requests from the server smaller bandwidth, smaller resolution. If you share the content, we give priority for the resolution, and when the bitrate goes down, when we're sharing the content, we try to preserve the resolution by sending less FPS. When you're sharing the video stream, we need to preserve the frame rate, and we can downscale the resolution when the bitrate goes down. So it happens automatically. This all adaptations to the channel for your video and for your audio happens automatically. If you resize application, the quality will be higher. If you make it smaller, it will be smaller. If we have many people in the layout will automatically fill up the space of your application. The component of our SDK will automatically display the layout in the most efficient way, minimizing the blank space, minimizing the black background. We try to fit as much people in the layout as possible. So you don't have to manage. You can control it, of course. We have all the tools to place video windows exactly in the locations you would like them to have, but even out from the box, it works flawlessly, making sure that the video conferencing experience will be very similar to the native TrueConf application. We also support content sharing. It's not just another camera. That means that we can share documents, we can share screen, we can share in other applications. For example, we can create a telemedicine solution with a single button which can automatically share to the doctor some additional devices or screens or applications. It could be electronic medical card, it could be the scanner for different files, it could be whatever type of content you'd like to share with. We also fully support NDI protocol, like in other TrueConf room solutions. That means in some scenarios, we have a kiosk or SDK application located quite far away from the peripheral devices, for example, from camera. And we need to pick up the video signal over the network. So it is possible with the, thank you to the support of NDI SDK, which is built into our library as well. We can use PTZ cameras, which is also important because there are not so many solutions on the market available for integration, which allows you to control SDK cameras. So that means you don't need to implement support for Visca protocol or RS-232 protocol to control PTZ cameras, or you don't need to implement Logitech SDKs to control the Rally camera, for example. We have everything built in. So using our SDK, it's possible to control PTZ functions of any camera. Could be webcam, could be professional PTZ camera, could be USB PTZ camera, it could be electronic PTZ camera. That's really important because the operator, the agent who responds for the conference call could remotely control the camera on SDK application side. Then, once again, SDK application, they could be designed for many different needs, not exactly for communications. It could be some surveillance systems or systems which monitor the safety regulation on some construction yard, for example. So for that, we need a PTZ camera control. And in addition for PTZ camera controls, we provide for SDK developers basically all possible controls for all other types of peripheral devices. So we can change them in real time. We can manage the statuses which is available for the system. For example, for mute status, for some additional information we receive from those devices. And we can change them. For example, we can switch microphones. If we have a complicated setup, we have different microphones in different zones, so we can change them in real time. So basically, all the features available in desktop TrueConf application, most of them is already available in the SDK library. That's important. So we tried to make a solution which doesn't limit you in any way. So it allows you to implement your own idea how video conferencing and messaging should be used in your particular case. So our goal is to give all possible integrations and not to limit your business cases, not to limit your tasks you have to implement. We have many examples of the SDK libraries being used by our customers. We'd like to highlight some of them. So they quite often used, as I said, for telemedicine and for banking. You can see on the left side of this slide the one case from Bahrain. For example, the weather is quite hot there, so it is very nice to have air conditioning, small space where we could have a small chat with the operator. And we help the customer to implement our SDK into existing ATM machines, where we can directly connect with the available operator by simply picking up the headset and clicking on the touch screen of that monitor you can see on the slide, and we are immediately connected to the available operator. It can be done using our SDK. We have, by the way, a special product for that, which is called TrueConf Kiosk. So if you don't want to develop anything, similar cases could be implemented with the help of the ready-to-use TrueConf Kiosk solution. We have another case from the new airport in Istanbul, which helps people to navigate through the huge new terminal, and it helps to connect to the operator, and it has the video conferencing, calling capabilities, among other support solutions they have for their visitors. Another cases from other customers are presented on this slide. It could be, for example, the banking case. On the left side from Brazil, we have a case where SDK automatically call the available operator, where once the customer walk into the small aquarium, small conference room located in remote branch of the bank. So we have a speakerphone, and once the call button is pressed on that speakerphone, we read the status and immediately initialize a call to the available operator. It could be a list of operators, it could be a group of operators. We can select randomly the available operator, so there are many different call strategies is available. But with the help of SDK, you can create your own calling strategy to reach the operator. And immediately the customer receives the response from the remote operator with the video. There are many similar solutions, as I said. Unfortunately, we're not able to share all of them, especially the telemedicine ones. But in telemedicine, that's the most important. Most of the cases are coming from telemedicine, where we have digital medical systems. They have client applications for mobile devices and for desktop solutions, where we could provide, in this case, mostly patient to the doctor type of connectivity with additional features available from medical information system. And that looks like a fully branded solution from the telemedicine provider. It doesn't have any TrueConf name there, so we can implement all the power and all the features of TrueConf video conferencing into your application, into your existing system, which is secure, which it goes through your server, and which takes care about the bandwidth, connectivity, availability, many other things. So you don't have to care about difficult tasks. You have to care about your business cases with the help of our SDK. As for the architecture, we have some not just recommendation, but we have requirements. So first of all, the video SDK have to be connected to our server because it doesn't work standalone. It has to be connected and authenticated in our server to receive access to the calls, conferences, address book messages, etc. And it always comes in pair. So if you plan to implement TrueConf SDK for your application, you have to deploy TrueConf server somewhere. No one will see it, but it will manage all the media traffic, all the calls, all the infrastructure related backend tasks. Without TrueConf server, it is not possible to use SDK. And your application is built and signed by your developer certificate, is built by your developers or your integrator. So you could implement access from your application to some internal systems which you trust. It could be ERP systems, other data information, some internal intranet resources, the systems which has access to personal data, and you could be absolutely safe with that because you are the developer of application, your application works inside your network, your application connects to your internal sources, and nothing goes outside. So when you use TrueConf VideoSDK, no links is made to the cloud, so it's totally autonomous. So it is quite safe to follow the guidelines and recommendations for GDPR and other regulations which are presented on the market when we treat personal data of the users or patients. They are quite strict. So that's very wise and very good to use internal schema when you have your internal server and internal application for that. And I'd like to add that in addition to the desktop SDK we're covering today, we also have a mobile SDKs for Android and for iOS as well. So what are the requirements for beginning of the development process? So we just covered the features. So let's cover some prerequisites we need to have in place before we start the development process for TrueConf VideoSDK. So this particular SDK for MAUI, .NET, is for Windows operating systems, and not for macOS, not for Linux. For different operating systems, we have different set of tools. They are all based on our library, but interface, the set of methods and events are different from one operating system to another. So the same methods we are using today for Windows SDK cannot be used for Android SDK. The foundation, the library is the same basically, but the methods is a little bit different, but you don't have to worry about that because we have extensive documentation for all SDKs available for all platforms. So you can reference to our documentation. By the way, I can see in the chat the link to the documentation to learn the differences between different environments. Another requirement is to have .NET in place. So the client machine where application with built-in TrueConf VideoSDK will be used, we need to install .NET libraries on that machine. And for development process, we need a Visual Studio because the MAUI extension we're going to cover today is designed to be used with Visual Studio. So if you are using a different IDE development environment, it is not possible to use it there. So we're talking about the native desktop application for Windows, so we need to use Visual Studio. And the last requirement, and the most important one, we need a special checkbox, special feature in TrueConf Server License, which allows the connection of application created with the help of our SDK. This license, this checkbox for your license could be remotely activated by our team. Just get in touch with us and tell us that you'd like to play around with SDK, and we will enable this extension for you for the period of time required for your development process. So it is not really expensive. It is just a measure to make sure that other applications created with the help of SDK will not connect to your server. So we can make sure that only your SDK application will be able to connect to your server. This is the security measure. And once you have a TrueConf server deployed with this SDK extension enabled, SDK application created with the help of this library, you will see today how it's going on, how it can be done, will be able to connect to a server. This is quite straightforward. And the package for VideoSDK, it is something you have to download. It is something you have to install. We have created a lot of tools for developers. Some examples are already published on GitHub, and the documentation is available as well. The links is either in chat. You can also use those codes to access them from your smartphone. And also you can request the library from our website. So TrueConf VideoSDK library is basically the installer, Windows installer file, which adds our VideoSDK library, MAUI library, to your program files folder, where the Visual Studio could access it. And that file is available from our team. Just get in touch, and we will be happy to share with you this installer file. So once we have all the requirements in place, we have a Windows computer, we have Visual Studio, we have a TrueConf SDK extension in your license. Once again, it is not very expensive, and for development and testing purposes, we can give it you free of charge for the required amount of time. No problem at all. And we have examples available on the GitHub, and the SDK installer is also required and can be requested from our team. It is not possible to download it from our website at the moment, but we would be happy to share it with you. Just get in touch with us. So once we have everything in place, let's briefly cover some important pieces of functions we are dealing with. First of all, we need, once we initialize the new product, when we initialize our component, TrueConf VideoSDK component in your application, we need it to connect to the server. Connection to the server is quite straightforward. You have to specify the address of the server, and if you are using the custom port, you can also specify that custom port. If you are not using custom port, just put one parameter, the server address, and that's it. By the way, all interactions between the client application, I mean VideoSDK application, and our server happens for a single TCP port connection. So it is quite easy to monitor and track network activity of your SDK applications. Thank you to the use of the single port. You can even deploy a separate TrueConf server for SDK application, which will use a different port, so you can make sure that you can distinguish between your TrueConf users application and TrueConf SDK application by assigning different ports to them. It can be done as well. So once we connect to the server, we need to follow some recommendations which we have in place for the developers. So this is not the description of the architecture, but some basic ideas you have to follow when you implement real-time communication applications. Because when we deal with real-time communications, we have different states. We have to read, we have to access, and we have to understand where we are located at the moment, what is the current state of the application, because there could be some network connectivity issues, authentication issues, we could have another call in place, we could be unavailable for our colleagues, we have a custom state set for the SDK application. So there could be many ifs, and this approach helps you to better understand where we're currently located, at what stage of the life cycle of your application, to better treat the events happening to your application. So first of all, we created a lot of events which trigger automatically when TrueConf VideoSDK has been launched, when it was initialized, and when its state changes. So for example, we have on after start event which automatically fires when the application is fully running and our SDK was successfully initialized. That's important. So everything else should happen after that, on after start event. For example, only after that event we should connect to the server. After that, we have to manage, we have to look after the state status, which is important, because we could have different statuses. Basically, states are connected to your TrueConf application statuses. We could be red, offline, we could be green, online, connected to the server, we could be yellow, like we right now, me and Andrey, we're yellow because we are connected to the conference. At the moment, we are busy. We could have some other statuses specific to the network conditions and our roles in the conferences. But that's important, because if you are busy, you have to decline the incoming call. For example, if you are offline, there is no point to call anyone because we are not connected to the server yet, or we are not authenticated yet. So please monitor the upstate changed event and see the status. For example, if we successfully connected to the server, we have a state equal to number 2, and this is the right place to authenticate. This is the right place to call the login method. And we have a special global SDK app state property to check the current status, which is automatically in real time updated based on the current state of the application. Another recommendation is to closely follow the on error event, which we trigger if something goes wrong. So we can help you to internally debug the status of the library inside using this method, and we fire it and trigger it when we receive some errors. And if your methods you're trying to call returns with some error, we will use this event to show you what's going on. We have some other events which are described in the documentation, which help you to understand what other participants of your conference, what other people trying to call you, trying to do with your application. They are described in the documentation. For example, if someone is trying to call you, you have a special state that you are being invited to the call or conference, and in this particular moment, it is possible to call specific methods to accept the call or to reject the call, for example. So there is no point to call those methods if you are not in this particular state, and for that we have a special event. And once you are done and you don't want to use your memory for TrueConf video SDK library inside your application, you'd like to release the equipment, you'd like to release the camera, release the microphone, you'd like to collect the garbage and switch application to another state, we can shut down our library, and any moment we can initialize it once again. That's up to you. So no need to restart application to initialize video conferencing capabilities or shut down video conferencing capabilities. You can enable and disable them in real time. So let's move forward. The next important part for every SDK application after we connect it to the server is the authentication process. So for authentication, we need to specify the call ID, the TrueConf ID, and the password. It could be Active Directory password. Those things are saved on TrueConf server site, or they are processed by TrueConf server. If we are connected to Active Directory, we will transfer those credentials to the Active Directory, and we'll wait for the response from LDAP server for authentication token. So authentication is important. So it is not possible to use SDK without authentication. So every TrueConf SDK application should be authenticated on your server. So this is also a security measure. Otherwise, someone could spam your server by creating hundreds of copies of applications which are authenticated using guest accounts. Once authenticated, your state will change, and you can listen. This is real-time application, so we have different states, we have different race conditions. So this is fully asynchronous thing. So things happening not consequently, but they happening asynchronously, because we send a request, it is processed on the server. Sometimes it waits for response from another user. So you send some request, you have to wait for a response. Once we connected, before we initialize any call, we need to select the devices for the call or conference. So we have a special methods which allows you to select the proper microphone, which is called audio capturer, the camera, which is obviously video capturer, and the speaker, which is audio renderer, the device which will play back the remote audio from your participants. You can change them in real time. We try to select the default devices available in your system, but we recommend to make sure that you properly select them, because usually when we deal with SDK application, especially if it is a kind of a hardware set, the peripherals are selected in advance, and we can open system settings. We can open the device management page of operating systems to check the proper name of the device we'd like to use. We will show you this in the demo. And once we are connected to the server, authenticated on the server, and once we have selected our peripherals, we are ready to make the first step, the most important one, to make a call. And to make a call, we need to specify the ID of the user we'd like to reach. That's quite straightforward. So just the TrueConf ID. It could be the local user. It could be a user from other TrueConf server instance if your TrueConf server is connected by means of federation. This is a special technology we have to create bridges between different installations. So you can reach not just the local user, you can also reach some remote user, because usually when we deal with the customer care, we have one internal server for internal communications. We also usually have another server for operators, because usually operators, agents, they are connected from their homes, from remote locations. They are not part of the internal network, so we usually connect through federated server when we speak with operators. So we can route the call from your customer to another server where the operators are connected to. So that's built into the technology. You don't need to worry about those networking things. We will take care about everything. Very similar to TrueConf client applications. You can also copy and paste to your address book any account from any server and try to call it. You will be able to see the avatar, profile information, send a message to that user. And the similar capabilities are available from SDK as well. And if we'd like to create a conference, we have another method for that. It is also quite straightforward. We need to came up with the idea of the name of the conference, which is required. We need to select the type of the conference. We have 4 different types of the conferences: smart meeting, role-based meeting, a video lecturer, and we have an all-on-screen type of the conference when everybody is visible. It depends how many people will be displayed in the layout and what roles people will be able to take during the conference. Please reference to our documentation for available conference types. You can also set the parameter for the people you'd like to invite into the conference. For example, we can provide the list, the array of TrueConf IDs of the local or remote servers of people who should join this conference once it is created, and TrueConf server will try to send invitation to all those users when the conference will start. SDK support messaging capabilities, so it is also very easy to use. Once we authenticate it, you can select any user, the TrueConf ID, peer ID, and send any message. For message, we support the syntaxes, which is quite similar to Markdown, so you can use some customization for messages, like bold, italic, etc. We can send messages not just for specific user, it could be a specific group chat or channel as well. And we can read messages as well. For that, we have a special event listeners. If we'd like to accept a call, for that we have a special event. You can register your own method on that event, which will be processed once we receive a call. And when you do processing for incoming call, you have to call specific methods we created to accept a call or reject a call. For example, if someone is trying to call your SDK application, you'd like to put that application in a specific mode. For example, initialize peripherals, enable the camera, change the layout. It's up to you. So once you receive the event that someone is trying to call you, you could render and create your own incoming call screen or procedures you'd like to implement for the call. Just don't forget to accept it or reject it, because by default the TrueConf server will try to reach for 60 seconds. It is customizable. The authenticated user from your SDK application, after that the call will be declined automatically. It is also possible to move the conference slot, the layout, to another window. This is quite useful. For example, we don't want to have a video conference limited to the size of our application. For example, we have application for specific task, and once we click once we accept the call, or once we initialize the call with a remote assistant, for example, remote doctor, we'd like this call to be rendered and displayed on another screen. For example, we have another screen attached. For example, I'll give you a real life experience example. We could have additional screen installed above the ATM machine. So in ATM machine, we click a button to get to establish a connection with remote operator, and TrueConf VideoSDK will automatically display that video call on that additional screen. It's easy to do. For that, we have a special method which allows you to move the entire layout of specific user inside that layout to that additional screen. That's important. For PTZ functions, we have specific methods described in the documentation. You can see them on screen as well. So it's very simple. You just need to send commands how you'd like to move the camera, and we will figure out everything else. You don't need to worry, is this camera is PTZ camera? Does this camera support electronic PTZ functions? Does this camera support absolute coordinates? Or this camera only supports USB UVC protocol, which is relative to the current position? You don't need to worry about that. We will move the camera according to your requirements. It is quite simple. We can share the content. For that, we have two main methods. For example, we can select the descriptor for specific application or the screen number, and it will be sent to the call or conference instead of your camera. We can also broadcast instead of your camera a specific file. It could be video file or image. For example, if you don't want to send to the conference the image from the video camera, you can replace it with some avatar or specific some other image. It can be done. So you can send images to the conference using this second method, which is start broadcast picture. If you have more questions about SDK, don't be shy. Please ask them inside our community. We have a very nice community with our pre-sale team and our engineers available there. And it is the right time to finally have some demos. And Andrey, could you please give us the demo for TrueConf SDK? I will stop sharing my screen, the slides, and I will try to explain to the audience what's going on.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'll be sharing my laptop screen and I'll be creating a new project where we'll demonstrate basic commands and operations. So let's start it.
So right now we're creating a new project in Visual Studio. You can see the Visual Studio interface. We need to create a MAUI project. That's important. Visual Studio supports a lot of different types of projects, but we need to create a Windows desktop application for that. So Andrew is right now selecting this.
Create new project.
Not selecting, but creating.
So
yeah, we have to
select
.NET MAUI application.
The .NET MAUI application. Next. Any names?
So what we're doing right now is we're showing to you how to make your own video-enabled application in a few minutes. Just wait a little bit, and we will make our first call. We need to support .NET framework. That's important. And we also have to select that this application will be only for Windows operating system, because MAUI is a cross-platform, multi-platform environment, but we only need it for Windows applications. So we have to select in the settings of our project that this application will only be built for Windows. That's important.
Well, first, select property and just type only Windows application. Just
so we remove checkboxes from Android, we remove checkboxes from other operating systems. Only Windows platform is selected.
And next, manage NuGet packages.
Now we need to include into this new project the library for TrueConf VideoSDK. We have to select NuGet package, which is locally installed. Please pay attention. please pay attention to the package source. We have selected offline source. So right now we have TrueConf VideoSDK installer already installed on that machine. That's why Visual Studio is able to see this package. So once we select this package, it will be automatically added and installed inside our project. So we will be able to use it components in our new application. So we see that the TrueConf VideoSDK MAUI library was successfully installed for our new project. We can see that in the packages settings it is now available, so we can see the inner list in addition to another MAUI controls. So that's very important step. So now we have our SDK available in our project. So let's use it. This is some dummy examples from Visual Studio. We don't need to use them. Let's delete this example for the new project. And now we need to include into the main window of our new application our VideoSDK. TrueConf VideoSDK should be placed in the layout of this new application. For that, we include the source. For this window, we need to use our VideoSDK assembly, and let's include it into the layout. So that's very important. Andrew, could you please select this line? So the line number 11, we just included into our layout, into the window of the new application, our VideoSDK control. That's named VideoSDK control. So we use VideoSDK control name to reference our library, and we set the height for 250 pixels. So let's check how it is built. We need to remove the references for buttons we just deleted from the.
I'm so sorry.
We forgot to delete the example events. Yep. So now the project should build with the single window with our library of 250 pixels height on it.
Okay.
The build is completed, so let's start the newly built application.
Let's start it.
Here it is. So now we have the new application, which is called MAUI App 20. This is our project name. And we have only one window for that application. And we can see that TrueConf VideoSDK component was successfully initialized in our new application. So we are seeing the video window, which should show our self view, but we don't have a camera enabled at the moment, selected at the moment, so it just shows some default placeholder for the camera. So our next step for this example is to initialize the camera to see ourselves. So let's call another method from our SDK to select the camera. So we created a new button which will enable the camera, which will trigger the method called setCamera button clicked. And let's copy and paste some code for this new method. Here we have the implementation for the method for this button. Please pay attention. Andrey, could you please go back? Just a minute. Yes. So we are addressing the VideoSDK control component on our window. And from there, we call the setVideoCapture method. And please pay attention to the parameter string, HD user facing. This is the exact name of our camera in our operating system. So if you open the device management for your operating system in Windows, you will see this name for this device. This is how system can distinguish one camera from another. So that's it. So once we build the application and select the camera button, the SDK will be told to switch the video capture to that device. So let's have a look. So now our application has a new button, set camera. Let's wait for the component to be initialized. So yes, component was initialized. We're not connected to the server yet. We just enabled the camera.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Andrew. So we clicked a button and the available in operating system camera was selected. Please also have a look how our component is adjusted. So we can change the size of the window, and the size, the self-view camera is also adjusted. The placeholder for self-view camera is also adjusted in real life, in real time. So the next thing we have to do is to connect to the server. That's important. To make a call, as I told you, we need to connect to a server. So we adding the new trigger, which is called on after start. We told you about it before. So one application successfully, once the component successfully initialized, we call VideoSDK on after start method, which was just created by Andrew. So please pay attention to the string number 16. Andrew, could you please select it? String number 16, just highlight it. So we call the connect to server method, and we see the address, which is 10.110.240, which is the IP address of the local demo server. So once application start and once our component is successfully initialized, the VideoSDK will try to connect to that server. Not authenticate yet, but just to connect to the server to make sure that we can establish a connection between the SDK application and the server. And if our server doesn't have SDK license enabled, the connection won't happen. So this is the place where we check that the license on your server allows for incoming connections from SDK applications. We also added a new trigger, on-app state changed. We registered a new method called on-app state change, which will be triggered once the application state is changed, because once we connect to the server, our state will change. So we will be not offline, we will be connected but not authenticated. We need to monitor this particular state, and once we are connected but not authenticated, we need from that state, we need to invoke another method for authentication. So this is what Andrew is doing. So we are looking for the new state number 2, and once we are in that state number 2, we will try to log in with the login name kiosk and some password. So let's try to do that. How we can make sure that we are authenticated? We will see from another TrueConf application that that user is authenticated. Just a moment. Let's start our new window application, MAUI application. You can see that in the address book, we don't see any kiosk user at the moment because it is not authenticated yet. But once we run our new application and click on the authentication button, it should appear as online automatically. Because we don't need to click buttons, we automatically connect to the server once the component is initialized, and we automatically log in once the component is connected to the server. Just a moment. Here we are. So that's the magic. So our kiosk is online because we established a connection to TrueConf server, and we successfully authenticated using account from TrueConf server. So our MAUI application is available for other TrueConf server users, like a regular user. You can see it. It is no point to call it because we didn't implement the incoming call methods like accept or reject yet. So we are not able to receive a call, but we can see that our state is online. So let's move forward and make a call then. So it's right time to add the call button.
Just one moment.
So we are going to add the new button to our layout of our application.
Check calling. Now we're calling. Wait, sorry. Cool.
So once the button will be clicked, we will invoke the method called callButtonClicked. So let's implement that's new method. And please pay attention to the line number 51. So once this button will be clicked, we will try to call the user called operator. Quite simple. So this is operator is TrueConf ID of another user who is authenticated on that TrueConf server we are connected to. The idea is to click a call button in MAUI application and to receive the call on TrueConf application you can see on the right side of Andrew's screen. The application has been successfully built. Let's start it.
Sorry, one moment. Just a moment.
So after 10 minutes of the developing of a new video calling application, we're ready to make a call. So let's set a camera first. Let's initialize our component. Let's connect to the server. So we are initialized, we are connected. We see that our kiosk application is online. We set the camera, so it's right time to call. Once we click on the call button, the call will automatically go through TrueConf server to kiosk to operator user. So now we are connected. You can see that the video call is automatically rendered in our new MAUI application. We can change the size of the window and we can see the real-time video. So it could be, it is fully scalable depending on the size of your application. You don't need to worry about signaling, about encoding, decoding, hardware resources, whatever. It just works. So very straightforward. We basically implemented 3 methods for connection to the server, authentication on the server, and the call button. That's it. And we created our first video calling application for Windows. Very, very simple. So you can do the same. We have more complicated example, which is available on our GitHub. So if we open another project from our GitHub account, which is called Kiosk application, which is built with the help of this SDK, we can show you some more features. For example, with this new project, we will be able to accept the call or reject the call, so it has better implementation for all the states available in SDK. Because the demo we just showed to you was real-time demo. It doesn't have implementation for all the states. But that's a new example you can see on the screen right now has special methods for different states. So it can handle incoming calls. It can handle some other cases which could happen with the kiosk application. So it is a very nice reference. So you can access our GitHub, download this application, and play with it. It has all the important methods we covered in this webinar implemented. The project is being built. We will use the same kiosk account. Let's start the kiosk application. So yes, so this is the demo from our GitHub account. It has more code, but we decided to put it in the last part of the webinar because it has a lot of methods. But the idea was to teach you how to use the basic methods. So we are finished with some basic things. It's right time to show some additional features. So now we have the new application initialized. The camera is busy because
One moment.
Yeah, we're using the same camera for operator application, so we need to release the camera first. We will restart the application to properly select the camera.
4K focus Okay, focus camera is just on this. Okay, one moment.
So we changed the camera the MAUI application will use. On Windows, it is not possible to use the same camera by two applications, so we have to select a different camera. Camera was successfully initialized. So MAUI application is authenticated on the server. We see the kiosk is online. So we can send the call to the operator application. You can see it. And with this demo, we can actually call kiosk back. So if we try to call the kiosk or invite it to the conference, let's invite it to the conference. We will see that kiosk received the request for incoming conference and automatically accepted. So that is described in the call. You can see that we can resize this window, and that's more powerful example of the calling application. So that's a real Windows application built using .NET technology called MAUI. So you can use it as a reference. You can use it as a good foundation for all types of video-enabled solutions you are willing to build. And our SDK gives you all the opportunities and features required to build secure video-enabled applications which process all the videos and data inside your network. That's already available, MAUI SDK. You can ask the library from our members of our team from using email or live chat on our website. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in our community. We will be happy to provide you with detailed guidelines and documentation. Andrew, thank you. Thank you for this demo. Very nice demo. So we just built a new application with video calling capabilities for regular Windows machine. It basically takes us less than 10 minutes. Very nice. That's it. Guys, thank you for participation today in our webinars. I see some messages in the chat, so if we have some time, let's try to answer them. Samir, you have some very developer-related questions, so let us translate them for Andrew and come back to you after this webinar. So very nice questions. Thank you for asking them. So they're quite specific, and we will be happy to answer them individually for you. And maybe we will share them when we will publish the recording for this webinar as well. Yeah, they're quite specific. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Andrew, thank you for assisting me today with this webinar. Very nice demo. And I wish everyone nice holidays, happy holidays, and stay safe. And see you next year, I believe. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.